For everything that had happened, the same could happen in reverse. And, you know, it's been good to get back on the winning side.
For the second straight week, the 49ers offense did not turn the ball over. A performance that left Kyle Shanahan almost satisfied.
I liked almost how we played every play except for about 10 of them.
Jimmy Garoppolo, 3 touchdowns and no picks in the 2-game win streak, but very few attaboys in the locker room.
I give soft compliments a lot. Like, it's just, I mean, Jimmy and I see each other every day, so it's not like, hey, things have been weird for 5 days. I got to go tell you that I think you're playing pretty good. He does pretty good with my soft compliments.
They're far and few between. Just with not only me, just everybody. That's how Kyle is, though, and you like that in a coach.
In 15 weeks, Garoppolo has gone from potentially losing his job to Trey Lance to the unquestioned leader of a team headed toward the postseason.
There was something different about him. He had this aura about him. I mean, even at breakfast, George and I looked at each other and we're like, Jimmy's ready to go today.
Jimmy, you said Jimmy was locked in at breakfast. This might sound ridiculous, but how could you tell? Was he just eating different?
Eating the same thing, but it was just his aura.
An aura, nice juice, nice. He had some shit to him today, though. I did like that.
If Garoppolo had everybody fired up in the cafeteria, Debo carried it onto the field with that mouthpiece jarring hit near the goal line.
That's an energy boost for sure, you know, especially to see him kind of have that same mentality and run like me. You know, that's just like, it's just like candy for a baby. You know what I mean? It's just like give me. I want some of that. You know what I mean?
Debo hit that guy pretty dang hard and took him a little bit to get up. And I feel like, you know, we made a lot of plays like that today where we were the guys hitting harder.
Nobody's hitting harder than Nick Bosa, who is now 4.5 sacks away from the 49ers franchise record. He's clearly picked up a few new fans in the process.
The ladies love him.
Me personally, he just go out there and get a sack, feel like almost every play.
The defense allowed just 62 rushing yards and have silenced the critics of first-year defensive coordinator D'Amico Ryan.
Just the way he's handled the team, the way he's handled the players, the way he's handled things when his back's been against the wall from just pressure outside and stuff. The guy's always the same, and I think he's getting better as the year goes, and that means he'll get better each year with us.
Long days ahead for all the coaches who have to prep for a Thursday game in Tennessee against the 9-5 Titans.
Kyle was pretty blunt with us and said, we're not celebrating tonight. It's time to get ready for Tennessee, and we'll celebrate Thursday night.
The 49ers maintain the 6th seed in the NFC playoff picture. If the season were to end today, they would play Tom Brady and the Buccaneers in the first round. December 25th is a few days off, but we get to celebrate early because it's a roundtable discussion. It's me, it's you, and Cam Inman at Levi Stadium. And I'll give them credit for doing it today, but boy, Cam, what a turnaround. They got to come back 4 days from now and do it again on the road.
Hey, they got the momentum to do it. You know, they keep winning ball games. They've won 3 in a row here, and it took them a year between wins to get that going. So, I mean, they did what they were supposed to do today. You know, it's like it started off terribly, and maybe the 49ers of 2 months ago would have folded right away, but everybody stepped up. Jimmy Garoppolo was hitting passes, hitting guys in stride. Bosa sacking people. It was, they looked like a playoff team, and that's what they are right now.
A lesser team, I think, would maybe gasp a little bit, maybe kind of be thrown off a little bit when Hasty fumbled the opening kickoff, but it just seemed like after the first quarter, it was like, okay, we got this.
Yes and no. It was like, because, I mean, they had it last week in Cincinnati, then they gave it up in the fourth quarter. So it's like, what is this team going to do? And then the way they came out after halftime, you know, well, they scored right before halftime with Debo, and it's like, okay, here they go. And they come out after halftime, Bosa strip sack fumble, they go down, score again. It's like, all right, this is what they're supposed to do. They got enough points, and the defense made the stops to overcome the dumb penalties, or maybe that's dumb on the NFL's part. And then they overcame the coverage woes of a rookie cornerback who actually had good coverage, but they're good passes. And to win 31-13, I think really emboldens their confidence going into, like you said, a short week into Tennessee.
Cam, when you look at the San Francisco 49ers, you think about the first half of the season and now in the second half. Pinpoint a couple things, in your opinion. What has been the biggest difference?
this might be way too pinpointy, but I think the fact that George Kittle is playing football really, really well, and he was gone for 3 weeks in the middle of that swoon, right? He was dealing with that calf or Achilles tightness, whatever he had going on. He's been on such a tear week after week the last month and a half. And that's whether it's receiving or it's blocking. It's so contagious. And then the fact that at the same time, Nick Bosa is getting a sack every week, and he's up to 15 right now. I look at those two guys, and then you go, okay, and then you have this other guy named Deebo Samuel. That's a hybrid running back, wide receiver, and they tried to make him into a frickin' quarterback today on one play that didn't work. But and his physicality, where he's knocking mouthpieces out of cornerbacks in the open field, this looks like a physical, efficient football team again, which they looked no part of that 2 months ago. They looked like a terrible team. What could go wrong went wrong.
If you're a player and you're just following Kyle Shanahan's lead, and maybe when things weren't going so good, you're like, boy, I don't know where we're going. But now, I mean, just how much of a winning does that really just affect the game upstairs?
Oh, without a doubt. And Cam and you guys been around this game a long time. And, Vern, you guys seen a lot of teams' ups and downs of the football. But when you start to make that transformation, and now you're starting to click and you're starting to win, and you're starting to see like Kittle, and you're talking about guys stepping up like he alluded to, it starts to become more infectious. And now guys are just paying attention a little bit more. It's attention to details. You heard Nicky Bosa talk about, hey, coaches have personal meetings with, we're just attention to details, just that little bit more. I think guys now, if you're watching it, they're playing a lot more focus, a lot less penalties. And when you stop those self-inflicted wounds, you start to play better football, and that's what the Niners are doing.
Like a few months ago, there was something lacking. There was something that they hadn't bonded together and been through. That 4-game losing streak and the fact that they emerged through it, I really sense a team camaraderie that's a lot tighter. I mean, they're joking around how Jimmy Garoppolo, you could see at breakfast, had an aura about him. It's like it's breakfast. But I mean, and it carries it over to pregame, so they're all feeding into it.
About Tennessee, again, 4 days from now, they're at the Titans, and I never played the game that this guy has, but Lowe was talking about the fact that you might want to get in the ice tub, like maybe even now, and just flip the switch and start focusing toward that. Maybe a series of walkthroughs between now and Thursday, because Thursday's going to come quick, and they got to be ready on the road.
I would say go jump in the ice tubs, do your final Christmas shopping, whatever you got to do. Take it easy. Although, you know what? I mean, as physical of a game as they played here today, last week's game in Cincinnati in the cold on artificial surface, I think that took a bigger toll on their bodies. And the fact that they played so well today out of that just shows me that this team is tough. And this team is ready to go for a stretch run that's going to last beyond the next few games. They're going to go into the playoffs. And when you're in that wild card round, and if the 49ers have a healthy Nick Bosa, Kittle, Deebo, Jimmy Garoppolo, this efficient, and then you have Trent Williams anchoring an offensive line that's playing really well, it's a dangerous team that can make a deep run in the playoffs right now.
I bet if you're Tennessee, I mean, you've lost the game, you've come back from Pittsburgh, and you're like, oh, man, the Niners are coming to town. I don't think anybody wants to play the Niners right now, not named the Indianapolis Colts.
You're absolutely right. That's going to be another physical game, Cam.
It is, and I think the fact that the Niners are catching a Tennessee team without Derrick Henry, it really helps in their favor, too.
You think?
Hey, good thoughts, Cam. Hey, thanks so much. Hey, if I don't see you, have a great holiday.
All right, Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you, Vern. Thanks, Lo.
See you, Cam.